What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Like I said, this is going to be about sports. It's going to be about whatever's on my mind and what's, going on in the media, what's going on just in general pertaining to sports. So here's the thing. I know I started off big, Rams community I have here, and they're all very excited, and you guys are all very excited to, watch some Rams content, and I appreciate that, but I do want to make it very clear that I'm going to do all sorts of stuff. So I might cover your favorite basketball team, I might cover your favorite hockey team. I'm doing the stuff that is on my mind, and that is going to be, legitimate, in your face content. So, with that being said, I figured with the draft coming up, or rather, it's later on tonight, I figured we would switch over to the NBA draft. Second video, we've already done football. We've talked about how the media doesn't like the Rams, loves the Seahawks even when they lose. If you haven't checked that out, you can, check that out on the show. But LaMelo Ball, I want to bring him up. He is somebody that I, at first, didn't like, as many other people didn't. Now, is it really his fault that I didn't like him? I mean, to a degree it is. But here's the thing. LaMelo Ball walked into your living room at the age of 15. He was the sideshow, the circus clown, with his brother, Lonzo Ball, who was about to become a millionaire, and who was about to become a star, and who was about to take over, potentially be the face of Los Angeles Lakers. However, things changed. Lonzo ended up getting traded to the New Orleans Pelicans, and LaMelo Ball, instead of eventually becoming a college basketball superstar, decided to take his talents overseas, play in the NBL. So this video is a little different. It's different because, first off, I love sports in general. Football is my bread and butter. It's my favorite. But I'm really intrigued this year with this NBA draft that I don't think is as common as years past. Now, for me, and we'll get into it, I think LaMelo Ball is by far the number one player in this draft, and I wouldn't think twice before choosing him. However, this is not a guarantee that he'll go number one. The Minnesota Timberwolves hold the number one overall pick right now, but it's not a guarantee that they will choose LaMelo Ball. There's also Anthony Edwards from Georgia, and James Wiseman. Now, here's the interesting thing here. Wiseman is a big man. He's somebody that he plays a position that's not as common. You can't find as dominant big men in today's game. Whereas Edwards, I look at as somebody that can be a legit 30 points per game scorer when he hits his, full potential. But that's not who I'm after if I have the number one overall pick. I am after the guy that is going to change the culture of my team, is going to change the way things move on the fly, and is ultimately going to play a very similar style of his brother, and that is LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is a game changer. When you look at what LaMelo Ball has done, he basically decided Zion Williamson went to Duke. Andrew Wiggins went to Kansas. You have all these huge high school prospects that went to college. But he did not. He went overseas and he played basketball with professionals and bypassed the NBA G League in college basketball. And he was recruited by the best of the best. Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky. And he chose to play overseas in a move that some may not have liked. However, it was a sign of maturity on his part. So, per 36 minutes for LaMelo Ball overseas, he averaged 19.6 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, 7.9 assists, and 1.8 steals. So this is a guy that does it all. He's going to get you rebounds. He's a 6'8" point guard. I know people are going to label combo guard, and I know he can defend all the way up to the 3. It's very impressive what he can do. But this, make no mistake, this is a game changer. This is a guy that can come in and he can change your offense. He can change it. He is going to spread the ball out. He's going to be a facilitator, and he's going to inject star power into whatever franchise he goes to. Here's the interesting thing about him, though, is that a lot of people are not over, as I said, and I prefaced early on, they're not over the shenanigans at age 15. LaMelo Ball could have been seen on WWE programming using a curse word on national television. People don't forget things like that, especially with Twitter and Facebook and all social media, and of course YouTube. It's out there. People see it. When you look at his presence on social media, you can see why teams are a little worried about him. But I told you the stats. He's doing this against professionals overseas. This is somebody that has just basketball in his blood. I think he's going to be better than Lonzo personally, and I actually really like Lonzo. So I'm not worried that if he's going to get himself in trouble or not. I'm more worried about his father, who's a total head case and has gone on pretty much every talk show ever to talk about his kids, talk about them being number one. It's a nice thing. It's cool to have your dad's support, but there's a time and a place. And he can be a little too overzealous. Actually, he could be way too overzealous in talking about his family. But that doesn't matter, because if LaMelo Ball takes care of himself, it's not going to matter what his father does. Because ultimately, if he succeeds and becomes the superstar I believe he can be, as well as many others, his father won't matter. He'll matter to him, but he won't matter to the rest of the media, to the public, to the teams. Won't matter. So, here's the interesting thing. We're on draft night, okay? The draft has not started yet. It was on my mind. I had to talk about it. I'm a huge fan of LaMelo Ball's game, and I don't think it's being talked about enough. Yeah, sure, there are people that think he could go number one, but there are a lot of people that seem to believe that Wiseman's going to go number one. And there are a lot of people that don't like him because of his prior antics. But I'm telling you, this is a different player at age 19. He has matured. He has definitely matured. He has seen the mistakes his brothers made. He has seen it all. And he's seen the mistakes the mistake his father made. So I am saying 100%, I'm guaranteeing he is going to be a starter in this league. I'm not going to guarantee he'll be a star. I will say this, if I was a GM, I would rush to the podium to make that pick if I had the number one overall pick. And if I had any pick in this draft, I would trade that and try to get him immediately if I felt that I could upgrade the point guard position. There's a few teams out there that have their great point guards that you won't touch. And then you have a team like the Lakers, who obviously would love LaMelo Ball, but there's just no way to get him on that team, and that's fine. That's totally fine. However, Minnesota, they have D'Angelo Russell. They have Jordan McLaughlin. They have Malik Beasley. I like those players. I do. And I like the way McLaughlin played last year, and I really like D'Angelo Russell. Watched a lot of him with the Lakers, and I liked him on the Brooklyn Nets. But at the end of the day, neither of those three, including Malik Beasley, are the type of playmaker, all-around playmaker, that LaMelo Ball is. And so for that reason, Minnesota should not hesitate to take LaMelo Ball number one overall. It's great to trade the pick away to get more picks. But at the end of the day, what are you getting? You're getting B players. I'm telling you right now, LaMelo's an A- to an A+ player. So Minnesota should pull the trigger. Golden State. What happens if he goes to Golden State? He falls to the second pick. Well, Golden State now has a point guard for the future. And even if that's not the case, in the short term, he's going to be playing with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins. And they could trade one of them. But at the end of the day, that would be huge to come back from such a bad season where nothing went right for Golden State to end up with the best player in the draft. And then on the other hand, Charlotte. The Charlotte Hornets are an interesting team. I do like the way that they got PJ Washington. I like Devontae Graham a lot. And I do like Terry Rozier. And of course, I like Miles Bridges. But here's the thing. Terry Rozier is expendable when you have an opportunity to grab LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball and Devontae Graham would be fireworks in that backcourt. So, hate to break it to you, if he falls at number 3, Charlotte, don't you dare trade down. I'm taking LaMelo Ball. And lastly, because he's not falling past 4, the Chicago Bulls, who could trade up to number 1 to take him. And I would advise that would be smart to do. The Chicago Bulls have Kobe White and Tomas Satoransky right now. Now, I like Kobe White, and I think Kobe White can be an all-star. But LaMelo Ball's overall potential leads me to believe he can be a superstar. If you have the opportunity to package Kobe White and Lauri Markkanen for another star player, and in return, you're able to grab LaMelo Ball at 4, I do that. But as we've seen, that's not always guaranteed. These guys can go 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, we saw Giannis go at the end, the end of the lottery, outside the lottery. We saw Dennis Schroeder fall down the board. So we don't know how it's going to go. We never do. But who should trade up for LaMelo Ball if he's available? That is the question we have to ask. And for that, I'm not going to say Golden State. I don't think they have to. But I will say Charlotte and Terry Rozier. You can replace him. I will say Chicago, Kobe White and Lauri Markkanen. And I will say Detroit, because there's nothing worthy of starting in Detroit at point guard. Give these fans something to appreciate at the very least. Langston Galloway is not going to sell tickets, folks. And the Knicks. The Knicks have a golden opportunity here. They just added another pick earlier today. They just traded up to 23. The Knicks need something. Their fans have been hearing for a long time now, oh, we're going to get this player, and we're going to get Russell Westbrook, and we're going to get LeBron James. Well, you haven't really gotten anyone. Here's what the Knicks have gotten. They signed Marcus Morris, who they used as trade bait. They signed Julius Randle, who I like, but he's not an overall superstar. And they signed Bobby Portis, who is a big man that can't defend. And he's not really that great of a scorer either. And he can't really rebound. I don't know why they signed Bobby Portis. Let's just be real here. So the Knicks, they have Elfrid Payton, Frank Ntilikina, and Dennis Smith Jr. I don't know what happened to Dennis Smith Jr., to be honest with you. Looked like he was on the verge of becoming a star when he was with Dallas. The trade totally ruined him for Porzingis. I don't know what's going on with him. Ntilikina is not it. I can tell you that right now. Frank Ntilikina is never going to be the player that, for whatever reason, you thought he was going to be when you drafted him. And I like Elfrid Payton, but Elfrid Payton isn't going to be a superstar. Elfrid Payton is what he is, a very solid pass-first point guard. You have an opportunity to get LaMelo Ball, you take it. If the Knicks trade up tonight to number 1 and they select LaMelo Ball, tell me that Knicks fans won't be celebrating that pick. To me, that would be starting over. That would be a new chapter for the Knicks, and that would give them some hope. And that fan base something to hold on to and something to watch. Washington. Well, I mean, we see John Wall is all over the trade news. The potential of swapping John Wall for Russell Westbrook doesn't really make much sense to me. Why don't you just trade John Wall, move up, and grab LaMelo Ball? And then you have Ball and you have Beat and you have Bradley Beal. That doesn't sound like a bad move. And then lastly here's a really interesting one I have. The last trade I think that would make somewhat sense. It's a little more of a fantasy thing here. Pairing Lonzo with LaMelo, using the capital that they got from the Drew Holiday trade and creating a Ball tandem that would make LeVar very happy, but might make Pelicans fans pretty happy as well. Not bad, having those two, having Brandon Ingram, having Zion Williamson, Jackson Hayes. That is quite the young star power. So tonight, as you watch the NBA draft, you wait for the number 1 overall pick. I'm just going to say this right now. Minnesota Timberwolves, or whoever has an opportunity to select LaMelo Ball, you do it and you don't think twice. He's going to be a game changer. The stats are there. He showed you that, he can compete overseas. I understand. I'm one of those people. I doubt overseas talents all the time, but you can really get a good feel of who's legit. When I saw Giannis Antetokounmpo, I saw his film and I knew he was legit, and I don't know how to this day he fell so far down the draft. When I saw Dennis Schroeder, I knew he was legit, and I don't know how he fell so far in the draft. And when I saw Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, that's what separates those guys from a Kostas Papanikolaou. That's what separates those guys from Frank Ntilikina. They have that it factor that you can see, and they clearly have it. And right now, I'll tell you, there's not one person, if I had to bank my reputation on one player in this draft, there's not one person I would say before I would say LaMelo Ball. So, don't overthink this, folks. I mean, you guys that are watching, of course, don't have any say, so you just have to hope your team makes the right move, but it's not hard. LaMelo Ball doesn't have as much bust factor as you really think. So pull the trigger tonight and watch as a young star is born. You have a huge opportunity if you're the Knicks. You have a huge opportunity if you're any of those teams to trade up and grab a star. Future star. Potential future star. But if you're Minnesota, it's right there. It's pushing a button. It's sending in a card. It's giving a phone call. It's right there for the taking. Do you want more capital that you're ultimately just going to trade away? Or do you want to grab the guy that you have right then and there and build around him in Karl Anthony Towns? That's the question. But those, folks, are my thoughts on LaMelo Ball and why I believe that he is the absolute real deal. He's the truth and the game changer that is available in this draft, and you can go get him tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoy my content. You can find all my social media below. Appreciate you guys, and if you want to obviously know when I drop more videos, right next to the subscribe button, you can click that bell icon, and it'll give you a notification every time I drop a video. Thank you guys, and take care.
Brooks. Oh,